Hello and welcome to another beautiful edition of Transport Line, the program that makes the difference. Coming to you live from the mega city of Lagos, state of aquatic splendor and the fifth largest economy in Africa. While the importance of cargo to maritime activities cannot be overemphasized, in fact, there can be little or no maritime activity without cargo. You will agree with me that cargo is the live wire of maritime industry. Gone are those days in the 70s when we had 30 functional ports in Nigeria. What do we have today? About 4 functioning. Policy inconsistency may not be helping matters here. Nigeria has witnessed decline in inward cargo, that is imported goods, as well as outward cargo, which is exported goods, except, of course, crude oil. Now, how important really is cargo to maritime? Can there be flow of maritime activities without cargo? And other sundry issues are what we are going to be discussing tonight on the program. How can we improve the maritime situation in Nigeria? What is the state of the maritime situation? This is why our guest, the former Director General of the Nigeria National Maritime Authority, John Patrick Egezi, is here to come and address on the program today. You are welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming to the program.
Thank you so much.
Where do I begin from?
I don't know, because you've said it all when you were doing your introduction.
Thank you very much, sir. Maybe I should ask you,
Yes.
what is the relevance of cargo to maritime activities?
You said it. Maritime activity, particularly the commercial maritime activity. You know, there is naval fighting force activity, which is also, but the commercial maritime activity, the center point of it is cargo.
Okay.
So without cargo, there is no maritime activity. It is that cargo that dictates the need for maritime activity.
Okay.
That dictates the need for ships.
Okay.
That dictates the type of ships.
Okay.
You know, that is the type of specialty, you know. So cargo is central. Type of cargo, volume of cargo. Are you getting me? Quantum volume of cargo. And where the cargo is going, it depends. Okay. So and the speed with which the cargo is needed.
Okay.
Yes.
So what is the situation with cargo business in Nigeria, therefore?
I might just disagree with you in your introduction that there has been fall in cargo inflow. Yes, there is fall that is caused by by government policy.
Yeah.
You know, government policy affects cargo. Cargo wants to come in. But if government bans the whole of cargo, there won't be cargo at the port. So one of the things that affects cargo, which is central to the maritime activity, is government policy.
Okay.
You know, the government has to ask itself how much of its authority is going to use against cargo. If it says zero vehicles, for instance, coming in, the roros will just disappear. Are you getting my point?
Very well.
That is the nature of the game. So there should be a discussion between the stakeholders in the maritime industry and the government when they are personal policy. And I'm not sure that this is the case.
Okay, but for sure,
yes,
government policy has affected cargo.
Yes, it does.
And it has resulted to some decline.
Some decline.
Oh,
that doesn't mean
no.
That doesn't mean that there are no cargo. If you stop a strip,
I never said there was no cargo.
Okay, all right. Okay. All right.
Okay, we have come to this point that you know there is a general consensus.
Yes.
You know, among stakeholders in the maritime industry that inconsistency in the policy has adversely affected cargo business in Nigeria.
It has.
Of course, you have subscribed to that already.
Oh, in fact, it's my creed. I've been singing that creed since 1988.
Oh.
If you listen to my on this film program, I kind of carried it. Yeah. Every forum that I found myself, I've said it. The founding of National Maritime itself is called National Maritime Authority. But you can see it is centered on the 40-40-20 rule, where Nigeria is supposed to carry about 80%. Are you getting percent?
Yeah.
Of the totality of cargo coming in and going out of this country. So the government already knows that cargo is central. When it did that interventionist policy, of us sharing cargo. You know, the cargo sharing, I don't know how old you are. You know, in the early 90s, in the 90s, late 80s, when they established the National Maritime Authority, the central point of it is to provide cargo to the NNSL, which was the flagship of the flag company, if you like, of the country. Okay. You know. But by the time the National Maritime Authority was established, the deterioration has gone very far. But that is not even the problem, because it can be revived if there is cargo. No, there is triangulation in the movement of cargo. Yeah. Cargo comes in, cargo goes out. If a ship comes in, for instance, and there is no cargo for it to take back, it charges us. You know, what we pay for freight in this country is more than the usual thing, because they have to charge us the cost of taking an empty cargo back. So it behoves us, you know what I mean. I know that the government itself tries so hard to do what you call barrier on trade, which is very primitive. It's not right, but it's in desperation. I can understand the spirit of the government. Now I'm coming. Okay. You know, I can understand the spirit of the government in doing that, but it definitely affects the development of maritime industry. What the government should do is to help produce an environment that is very, very good for government, for business to grow, particularly foreign business. You shouldn't turn your back. No man is an island. Let people come here, produce cars. Don't ban any car. Let them produce cars. Let them produce ashoke. Not just this textile that we've been wearing. Every woman minister will wear akara. And they never, because there was ban on textile at the time, they didn't have the incentive to change. After all, they are gaining. But if you allow people to come, people wearing suit like myself, we will have to do yarn to produce suit. Are you getting my point? Well. And this is what the ships carry. Okay. Until you develop it, we can't go very far. Okay. We can't, not that we cannot go, but we cannot go very far.
As desired.
Absolutely.
Now, we are talking about inconsistency of policy by the government.
Yes.
Now, what's this government we are talking about? For instance, yes. You are the founding director yes, of Nigerian Maritime Authority.
Not director general, one of the founding directors.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, which is NMA is now known as NIMASA.
NIMASA, that's right.
Now, are you saying NIMASA, other maritime stakeholders have no stake?
Oh, they have.
Or have no say in the formulation of policy?
They have.
So why do we now come back to
NIMASA and NMA, the NIMASA, sorry to cut you, NIMASA and NMA are central to this. That is why NIMASA is the apex. But it is not the fault of NMA nor the present NIMASA.
Okay.
It is not the fault, because we carry out what we are allowed to carry out by law.
Okay.
And the influence, you know, a business, even government business, you know, operation, what you call internal and external environment.
Okay.
If the external environment is flux, it keeps changing, it will be very difficult even for the most brilliant chief executive to do certain things. Okay. And even in doing it, he has to keep looking back in a political system. You know, you might just offend people if you do things the way you want to do it completely. You know. So the inconsistency is caused by political interests. Political interests. But I would suggest that the government should take away this sort of developmental thing about the country away from political interest. Let them call experts, you know, experts, not necessarily only on maritime, national planning. Are you getting me?
Very well.
Maritime experts, trade department of the government, trade ministry, and bring us together. We'll come to that. I don't know how long your program is going to last, but
well, yes. it's all for you. In any case, we have set aside 2 episodes for
okay,
you.
all right,
so you
no
have
problem.
As
I'm
much
here.
As you can today and next week. But as it stands,
yes.
you know, the situation with the cargo business
yes.
in the Nigerian ports today, how do you think we can still achieve the dream or the aspiration, you know, that the maritime industry can do better, even than the oil and gas industry? 3 years into the administration now, no employment in the maritime sector as desired, no development, no growth. It is not contributing as much as expected to the national economy. Can we still realize it with this situation?
It is neither the fault of the present government, nor the fault of the immediate past one.
Okay.
It is a very long story.
Okay.
It is sometimes the tendency of government to be emotional and to be sometimes parochial and sometimes to be tribalistic, or to not, let me take away the word tribalistic, it's too primitive, to choose their friends when they go into government. I remember a case when a certain minister was appointed. He's a fairly good friend. I went to see him. I said, look, if you need help, call me. He said, look, I should see him. It was, I think we saw in December. Call me. He said, look, can we see so in January? I said, no problem. Send me a ticket. Send me a hotel accommodation. And that'll be yours. Don't even pay me, because the interest of this country is my interest. I waited. He never called. What I'm trying to say is that certain other, I'm not saying that he deliberately didn't want to call me. Somebody may say, make my brother advisor. This is, I'm not coming to serve, just to tell him this. Okay. You see, when you are not well advised, you are bound to founder. There's no doubt about it. Okay. It's not something that you just come in and sit. They can give you any title, but you need to be advised by people that know it.
Yeah, exactly.
People that have interest.
Exactly.
That's why I respect
people that
somebody.
Have passion for
I know this is LTV. But I respect someone like Babangida. I'm telling you, General Babangida, is somebody I respect a lot. If his enemy knows what he wants to do, he will go and call him to serve. That is what he does. He's so dispassionate in choosing people that helps. You will say, that man knows it. It was when he came that you see some people coming out from there, using all sorts of people we don't know exist in this country. And that is the sort of attitude government should use.
Okay.
Yes.
Now we'll continue the program after this short break.
Thank you.
Please don't go away.
In constant motion.
And you must move with it. Transport Line helps you do that without stress.
Transport Line is a hot, new and sizzling program that brings you the very best from the transport world.
Featuring analytical and objective reports, a deep-probing interviews and timely news tidbits that keep you abreast of latest development in transportation and delivered to you by a crack team of experienced professionals in grand style.
Transport Line is a must-watch.
Are you a stakeholder operating in any area of the transport industry or an advertiser in need of a veritable window to push your brands?
Team up with us on Transport Line, the happening transportation program on TV. Watch out for Transport Line on LTV UHF 35, DSTV channel 256 and Star Times 114.
Transport Line, mobility in every sense.
Yeah, you're welcome back. In case you are just joining us, we've been discussing cargo, the signature of maritime in Nigeria, or everywhere if you like. No cargo, no maritime. Now, the cargo situation is not what is desired in this country. But we have the executive order on the ease of doing business at hand now, and we have lack of commercial infrastructure at the Nigerian ports. How do you reconcile all these and get to where we ought to get to?
Are you going towards, if I understand you, you want to talk about the gridlock at the port?
Yeah,
is that what you want to talk about?
The infrastructure generally,
okay,
the commercial infrastructure,
now,
the gridlock at the port,
yes,
the access routes.
Yes, we talked about cargo.
Scanner,
cargo,
forklifts and everything.
Let me write this simple equation. The supply of cargo is directly proportional to the industrialization of the country. If the country is not industrialized, you cannot have cargo, particularly high-quality cargo. So it is not a short-term thing. It isn't. Of course, there are things like cabotage, simple cargo that eventually you can take into short sea trade. You know what I mean? But when we are talking of international trade, apart from oil, of course, industrialization. You got to be industrialized.
Do we belong? Are we?
Well, you can see that one particular element in this thing is setting us back. The light, the power. We talk about Malaysia. I have a cousin. He just came back from Malaysia. And he said, I asked him, what is the difference between Nigeria and Malaysia? He said, sir, Daddy, it is power. They have consistent power. Nigerians are very hardworking. Give them electricity, they will produce anything. And when you produce anything, you will have something to export. And when you have something to export, in fact, we'll be begging shipping to come and carry it. All this one I say that Nigeria is subsidized shipping, you won't even need it. Are you getting my point?
Very well, very
so,
well.
let me now go to, you keep scratching at this infrastructure thing. Let me quickly relieve you of your pains. Infrastructure does not start at the port, nor does it end there. You can see what happened to the Lagos port. It has been hemmed in into itself. It has become a city port, not worth its name. The present short-term thing that is happening, the Western Command of the Navy, giving this card, call-up card, to solve a problem, the Apapa local government putting barriers, you know what I'm saying? And so many, and then NPA talking about the issue of the consignors, you know what I'm saying? Not providing stacking bay. I'm not saying they are not right, but they are just short-term thing. What is important is for the government to sit down. You see, transport, not shipping, because shipping is an element of transport. Right. To sit down and say, where do we want to be in 50 years' time? It's not a 10-year program, it's not a 50 years. And we start working on it. No emotion, no blame game. And above all, no corruption. We work at it. We work at producing a rail that lives. I remember the Shippers Council. The Shippers Council, suggested, and they are carrying it out. I cannot but praise them in this. The ICDs. The ICDs are very useful. But the ICDs cannot function without a good rail system, without a circular national road system, without a feeder road system, so that the only time you see things like these trailers is at the local points. The rails, the rails have carried the bogies, the tankers and all. They've carried them to the point where all the local areas need to come and pick the one that is theirs. And it will create a new nation called Nigeria. Trade will be spread all over the place. And business people want to come to Nigeria. Lagos is chock-a-block. It's dying on its feet. It will give Lagos more value. In fact, Lagos may even become a holiday resort, still making money. But with the things are, God, it's looking very ugly. I don't go out of my house. Not because I'm not healthy. I can do 100 meters dash. Are you getting me?
Very well.
But because of the condition, lack of planning, so they allow Lagos to collapse on a colonial infrastructure. It cannot breathe, Kolemi. You know what I mean?
Very well.
Like we say in Igbo, Omoriki Kume. It doesn't have oxygen left.
You have to include Hausa.
I wish my father is here. My father speaks perfect Hausa.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Now, there's this issue of the Nigerian ports
Yes.
being very, very expensive. And in fact, the most expensive in the sub-region.
It will be.
Of West Africa.
It will
How
be.
does this affect business of cargo?
Who do you blame for the expense? When you have demurrage, you know what I'm saying? When you have delay in cargo, it must be expensive. It is when you have done your homework, you find that this thing will just drop. You know what I mean? The cost element will drop almost to zero.
Okay.
And there will be quick movement. Trading and industry will be fantastic.
Yeah.
Everybody will start enjoying the country. The country is beautiful.
Oh, very beautiful.
But we got to decide, do we want a country? The central part of unity is transport. Yes.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. John Patrick Egesi.
Thank you
I've
for
been
inviting
speaking
me.
with Mr. John Patrick Egesi, the former Director General, I hope I'm right,
You are right.
of the Nigerian Maritime Authority, which is today known as NIMASA. Well, he has been speaking on cargo, the signature of maritime.
Thank you.
Well, we are going to continue the program next week. When we return next week, by the grace of God, we will be discussing the possibility, the need, or otherwise to have a rebirth of the Nigerian shipping line, among other issues.
Thank you.
Till then, please stay out of trouble and strive towards a greater Nigeria. It shall be well with our country, Nigeria. God bless Nigeria. Have a better time and see you next week. Bye for now.
Thank you.